that first book was born out of me. I just wanted to write a story. For as long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a writer in some form. So I wrote this book very much out of, I just want to write an adventure story. I wanted to show these characters going on this journey and experiencing these hardships. And I feel like with the second book, I've made this comparison to you before. I very much feel like this second book is Empire Strikes Back. I'm not going to say qualitatively it's that good, because I'm not going to make that assessment of my own work. But in terms of just, I have a lot of things with this second book that I've realized I really want to say. There are lots of themes in this, and there are lots of messages that I want to communicate about the characters, Lind and all the other characters that are going to be returning from the first book and the new characters I'm introducing.
I think, honestly, what I experienced in it was, for me, a reminder of what a hero's kind of origin story can look like, unexpectedly being thrust into something that is so overwhelming and so harrowing, and it like pulls out this version of that person that like otherwise wouldn't have happened. We've had so many conversations, you and I have had conversations about why we hate modern storytelling and a lot of things, especially film. I think it's more obvious a lot of times, but like it's so hard for me to buy a book that's been released in the last 10 years. And I think that it's a really interesting conversation to come back to, like, why is that? Like, why are we even writing these books in the first place? Why are we doing a Kickstarter and launching a publishing house? Like, there's lots of publishing presses and all sorts of people doing stuff. But I do think that it's a relevant thing to say that, like, for me, I would say, I don't know that I have a moment that my story clicked perfectly. Like I said, it was more like just in conversations with my co-author, Nathan, and going through what that would look like. But I think that for me, it was more about like, what's the point of this publishing house? What's the point of our catalog of books? What's the point of the stories that we're trying to tell? And you're the first person, I think, who reminded me of like how to say what we're doing. I don't want to say it in a negative way. I don't want to be like, we're writing stories that are not this or not that. Because I think the first thing people go to is like, not woke, that's like the kind of vibe. Yeah. And I'm like, but I want to define myself by something that I don't actually enjoy, like reading. I don't want to define myself by how much I'm not like that. I want to define what we're doing in the affirmative. And you were the one that was like, it's just a return to actual like good storytelling. Yeah. And I've been like pondering a lot about, and I don't know, we weren't planning to go here, but I just feel like it's a natural outflow. I think it's a great
transition into the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think it's a natural outflow of that. And what I've been thinking about is how so much of modern storytelling, and I would say not all of it, like I'm going to give credit where credit's due. There are a lot of books that I really like that I think say a lot. And honestly, a lot of books that I love that even would say a lot that you could interpret as opposed to my personal political stances or whatever, that I can still enjoy and find a lot of value in. But I do think that I've been realizing even in the last few weeks has just been that I feel very exhausted by the influence of like critical race theory specifically on storytelling, because it transitioned us from this idea of storytelling is about interesting stories, and they don't have to be heroic stories. They can be funny, they can be horror, they can end badly. It is not like the stories themselves are only like one formula, but critical race theory's impact, it focuses more on like, okay, well, who is writing the story and how oppressed are they, and who is the main character and how and why are they oppressed and in what ways? And that is the driver of everything. But unfortunately, that's not a story. That's maybe a hook, but it's not actually a story yet.